So you're thinking about designing your home, you want to improve it, you want to make it your dream home, the home you love, the place you're really happy to come home to after a hard day at work. But maybe you're worried about getting the design wrong, but you want your project to happen quickly, and you're not sure about all the things you need to think about and all the things you need to decide to be able to get this design to work for you. Well, this is a live about how you can make your home design work for you, not just for the time of year that we're in now, but for the whole year. And you might be thinking, well, who are you? What do you know about this? Well, let me introduce myself. I'm Jane. I'm a chartered architect. I'm a Green Register listed eco refurbisher, and I am an RIBA Conservation Register accredited registrant. And what does all that mean? Well, it means that I've got over 20 years of experience of designing buildings of all different types and sizes, and I've got 10 years of running my own architecture practice that specialises in working with homeowners, especially homeowners of older buildings, period property, which are beautiful but maybe don't feel very comfortable, and making those work for a modern lifestyle and using eco techniques so I can help you protect the planet with your home as well. So what I'm going to be looking at today is how you can take into account the whole year when you're designing your home. I get a lot of clients come to me, and actually a lot of clients come to me in sort of January and February, and they're very cold at home, and they're mostly worried about that level of discomfort that they're feeling, and they just want to perhaps make their energy bills cheaper, but more importantly, they want to feel comfortable, they want to feel cozy and snug and not be shivering and having to layer on every single item of knitwear that they own. So that's one of the key things that a lot of people come to me. And then sometimes people come to me in the summer, and what they want to do is they're all about opening up to the garden, having big sliding folding doors and making sure that they can come in and out, and they've forgotten about the cold bit of the year. And likewise, when clients come to me in the winter, they maybe haven't really remembered what it's like when it's the summertime and they want to actually open up and spend time in their garden as well. So this is something that I have seen happen over and over again. And because a lot of people underestimate how long a project can take, I often see a project through several months, and very occasionally through several years of iterations and design, going back and forwards on design and going through the whole construction process, perhaps in one stage, perhaps in several phases. And I've seen how clients can realize different things with the same project, but different things happening throughout the year, and they have different feelings at home throughout the year because of the way that the temperature changes, the light changes, and the different seasons, or the different cultural events and things like that, Christmas, Easter, Hanukkah, Ramadan, all these different things that are going on all throughout the year, and those have different pressures on your home, the amount of people who are coming to stay or visiting or popping around for a cup of tea or whatever. So all these differences throughout the year can really can affect the way that you need your home to be. But it can be really hard to remember all of those things when you're looking at design, and it can take, a couple of hours to come up with a design, a quick design, a concept, an overall vision for your home. But it can take several months to actually get that really onto site. And in that time, during the time that it takes to get from initial idea all the way through to build, can take a whole year. And in that year you will then see all the different changes, and I'll find that clients then maybe are looking later on in the year to make changes to their design because they hadn't taken things into account when we looked at their design at the beginning, because they'd forgotten what it was like in the summer, or they'd forgotten what it was like in the winter. And so that's something that it's really worth taking that into account, thinking about, putting yourself into a place of imagining what it's like. What is it really like at home during the summer, and what's it really like in the winter, so that you can get that overall vision right at the beginning, and then you can avoid making changes later on where you maybe are having to then make more compromises. You maybe are increasing costs, especially if it's on site already, and all of those. Like, the earlier you make decisions, on the bigger picture stuff, the better. And then you can take the more information you've got at the beginning to design, the better balance the design can be between potentially conflicting things. So perhaps you want to feel really cozy and snug in the winter, and you want to feel really open and connected to the outside in the summer. Those two different types of spaces, they can be quite a different kind of space, and you maybe want different sorts of doors and windows to meet those different needs. So it's worth really having a good think about, how do you live during the winter, how do you live during the summer, and then those sort of in-between periods of spring and autumn, when I find they tend to be more about maintenance. You've got your spring cleaning, and then in the autumn it's much more about dealing with leaves from gutters and cleaning. Perhaps you've got wood burning stove, cleaning chimneys, so that you're preparing for winter and making sure your house is going to be able to cope with the rain, and you're going to be able to burn your wood safely on your stove and so on. But in terms of temperature, they're much more moderate, especially in the UK. There's not such a big difficulty in what you're doing in the spring or the autumn. But perhaps that's not true for you. Perhaps you have a particular hobby that you do just in the spring or just in the autumn, and that changes everything about the way that you use your home. So it's really, really worth thinking about how you use your home in the winter, how you use your home in the summer. So I'm going to sort of go through a little bit how you might be feeling in the winter, and I'd love to make this more of a conversation. And if you've got any thoughts about what you like to have in the winter and how you like to live in the summer, and if that's different, then I'd love to hear from you. So in the winter, I would say for most people, you want to feel cozy and snug. You maybe would want to have a wood burning stove that you can sit around and see a real live fire. You might want to reduce your heating bills, or you might just want to make everywhere feel warmer and more comfortable, less drafty. Generally, it's a darker time of the year, so you may be looking to increase some natural light. I get a lot of people come to me and say, I just want more windows, I want more roof lights so that I get more light in. In the summer, that might be different. You may then want more electric light. You may experience more problems with condensation and possibly mold growth because the damp and the walls maybe are cold, and so you've got damp occurring in the cold spots. You may be drinking lots of hot drinks, so you might be tempted to get one of those hot water taps that just gives you hot water all the time. You might be struggling to get your laundry done, and especially when you're looking at wanting to dry your clothes naturally, air dry them, rather than use a tumble dryer, then it can be a lot more difficult to do that in the winter, especially if it's raining a lot. Then in the summer, on the converse side, you maybe want to connect more with the outside. You maybe want to be running in and out. You might want to have barbecues. You might want to entertain outside as well as inside. You want better ventilation. You're not bothered about drafts. You want drafts. You want to feel that sensation of fresh air and cooler air. You maybe want to either maximize the sunshine because you're enjoying it, or maybe you're finding it a bit too bright and you want to actually reduce the glare. Maybe you've got skin like me and you suffer from getting sunburnt easily, and you maybe want to make sure you've got enough shade. you may struggle to get to sleep, or you may struggle to sleep very well because it's so hot, and so there you may want better ventilation from that point of view. You might be drinking lots of cold drinks, or maybe you want more ice. You might be more tempted in the summer, say for example, to get one of those plumbed in American style huge refrigerators with the ice dispensers at the front, which in the winter you might not be bothered about one of those. So that would have an impact maybe on your kitchen design and layout. Bins in the summer, they're going to get smellier more quickly, especially the green bin, you know, your food and your garden waste, so they'll need to be emptied more quickly, and you might want to be able to then get to your bin store and your recycling and deal with all of that more easily and more quickly than maybe in the winter. You might not be quite as pressured to get that out, you know, fruit flies and all of that sort of thing. When you arrive home in the summer, it feels like you've still got loads of evening left because it's still light, and you know you're going to be able to spend more time outside in the evening, rather than in the winter. You come home and it's more, because it's darker, you might be more likely to stay in and stay at home and just hibernate a little bit. So those are sort of couple of differences really. The strongest differences obviously between winter and summer. I personally can't see any huge differences between autumn and spring that are, you know, they're obviously they're in between months, so there's no extremes that you need to be sort of worrying about. If you're catering for your winter and your summertime, then the spring and the autumn I would expect to kind of look after themselves a little bit. Another thing to take account of is things like outside. In the winter you're going to have a lot less greenery, so your views from your home are going to look different. Things like trees, especially deciduous trees that lose their leaves, they're going to be throwing a lot less shade. The winter sun is much lower, so you might actually get more glare in the winter because the sun is lower and it will be coming in deeper into your floor plan. In the summer, your deciduous trees will have grown their leaves, and so they will be casting more shade, and actually they might prevent you from having too much glare from the sunshine in the summer. There are lots of things to take account of, both inside and immediately outside your home, that will change throughout the course of the year and are going to affect the way that you live at home and the way you enjoy your space. I really hope this has been helpful. I feel that designing can be really, really quick. You know, we can do it in a matter of a couple of hours, but the designs have got to serve you and help you love your space, not just for a short period of time of the year, unless you're lucky enough to own a home somewhere in a different country where you can escape to in the winter and you can see some, you know, winter sun. In most people's cases, you will have one home, your main home, and even if you do go away sometimes, you want to be able to enjoy that home the whole year round, not just for the time of year that you actually spent designing it. And you want to not just enjoy it for the whole of 1 year, you want to enjoy it for many years. So I always feel like it's much better to take really a lot of care with your design, really consider it and think about what it is that you really want, and put yourself, even if that's an imaginary way, imagine yourself in your space or what you like to do at different times of the year, at different times of the day, and think of it more as slow cooking and slow fashion as opposed to, you know, junk food and fast fashion. You know, designing your home is too important to do it too fast. Take your time over it, make your decisions in a really considered way, and you'll get a much better design at the end of it. I hope this has been really useful for you. I'd love to have a conversation. I will come back and do my best to answer any questions, and I will be looking forward to reading any comments that you might have, even if it's just hello or #replay. It's really lovely to see comments. So yeah, I'll look forward to speaking to you again next week. Bye for now. can't stop it. I can't see the button that says finish.